Tonight. This is Perth Tonight with Chris Ilsley on 882 6PR.
G'day, David.
Oh, Chris, please. Regards to automation in the future, you mentioned about batteries. You go to Bunnings, you go any place that sells lawnmowers, whippersnippers, they're all battery. They're all turned to battery.
Yeah, they're all
and
electric.
that's what's going to happen in the future.
Oh, of course it is. Of course it is. Apart from anything else, they're quieter, so your neighbour's not going to complain about the noise. Less pollution. I mean, it's a no-brainer, really, isn't it?
Oh, Chris, I hate the old two-stroke fuel we used to use back in the old days, back in the 70s.
You know what I
and
used to
80s?
do? I used to hate having to go down there, be patronised by some gruff old bugger in the service station when you say, want me to mix you some two-stroke fuel, do you, sonny? And when I got old enough and I started to get my first qualification in smart arsery, I'd turn around and say, well, actually, I probably could do a better job than you. I'll do it myself if you want. That used to, that used to really put their nose out of joint.
Oh, Chris, don't forget also Paris. And I think it's about 2022, 25. All motor vehicles, trucks have to be electric. They cannot be petrol.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I don't know if it's petrol. Thank you for that, David. I don't know if it's petrol. I think it was diesel from memory. G'day, Chris.
Oh, good day, Chris. It sounds like a night of Chris's tonight. The fuel watch. Now, I've been logging the price all the time on there, and probably like you mentioned the western suburbs. United on Scarborough Beach Road, they're consistently lower than the others, at least one day a week, and quite often 2 days following are they the lowest. Now, why people don't use Fuel Watch, in my opinion, is because they just can't be bothered. I really believe that.
What do they have?
Myself.
I mean, look, some people, to be fair, if you're cruising around in a Maserati, well, the chances are that, the extra you pay for petrol really isn't that much of an issue, and I get that. But given that most of us don't do that, and that most of us do have to kind of watch our pennies, I'm with you. I can't work out why you wouldn't save $5 or $6 on a tank of fuel. It just makes sense to me.
Well, I can't figure it out either, Chris. But as far as nothing being done about it, I suspect it's the old story again, lobbying of politicians, don't create a storm as far as the fuel companies are concerned. Now, I'm doing something about it. I got fed up. About 5-6 weeks ago, the prices hit about $1.60 something.
Yeah.
That was the straw which broke the camel's back with me. I went and bought myself a second-hand plug-in hybrid. In the last 5 or 6 weeks, I've put in $15 in it, not because I had to, but on the cheap day, I topped it up. I can drive 60, 70 Ks every day on my solar power, and I bought a separate system, second-hand, off of Gumtree, which I'm assembling at the moment, and I won't have to worry at all about filling up the car again as far as I'm concerned.
Beautiful. That's what I like to hear. Thank you very much for that, Chris. That's what I call good news. Take that, big oil. We need to bring on this technology fast.
Oh, yeah.
Mind you, there is one other aspect of it. Somebody else is going to have a conniption over all this, don't you?
Who's that?
Government.
Oh, yeah.
You got any idea how much money they're making from fuel excise, rent resource tax, and then the GST that they apply on the two?
Yeah, yeah. Now, I did actually have a chat to someone who's big into electric vehicles, and he did say, it's a big issue for the government because exactly that. The electric cars don't burn fuel and don't
fuel excise
fuel
is
excise.
massive.
Yeah.
And this is what people don't. In fact, Australia has the cheapest pre-tax fuel in the Western world.
That's right.
Even cheaper than the United States. Once you start to throw our taxes in, I mean, don't forget the government also robs you. That's one of the reasons why we have respect for Ned Kelly, because at least he was honest. He held a gun to your face and said, I'm robbing you. The government tries to pretend it's your friend.
Yeah. Yeah, well, nothing groundbreaking there at all, really.
No, not really.
We've known for a long time.
Speaking of groundbreaking, what's groundbreaking in the world of technology? Oh, by the way,
yes,
I'm going to get you to do our draw, which I mentioned.
Yes,
do that
that's right.
in just a little while. In fact, we'll do it after the next commercial break.
Perfect.
And find out who our winner is of our arcade machine. I saw you giving it a bit of a workout.
Yeah, a bit of a beating. Yeah, that
Actually, from
fantastic
what I saw, you got the beating. Maybe I was misinterpreting the outcome, but I don't think so.
It was 50-50. All right. We'll call it a draw. How's that?
Isn't it funny they're still able to do that after all these years?
Well, yeah.
I mean, compared to the modern gaming console, those games were pretty, but they could still beat you.
Yeah, and I think the magic with the old arcade machines, exactly, they're fun. Yeah. But the magic comes down to the gameplay. So, I mean, who would have thought today, if you were to plonk someone down in front of Space Invaders or Pong, some of the originals, and they'd look at it and go, what's this about? How does it work? And then once they get their head around it, there's that little, one more try. Yeah. And that's the thing.
And things like Space Invaders, even the way they use the music was designed to get you, boom, boom, and then it would get faster, boom, 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 boom. And it was subliminally saying to you, I am going to get you.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah, and speaking of people coming to get us, there was that massive breach, that big. Have you heard about the breach?
No. Bring me up to date on the breach.
Bringing you up to date on the breach. This is to deal with. This is a massive breach. 500 million instances of a breach. So and that's huge.
Who's this?
So just to put this into scale, 500 million. The population of the United States is around about 330 million. Yeah, 330 million. Yep. Okay. So this is Marriott Hotels. They purchased another hotel chain about 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago.
Yep.
And it looks like when they purchased it, there was also somebody inside that system just sitting there quietly siphoning off data. And so
How does this happen and nobody notices?
Well, look, it took a while for someone to notice. And
it's all good for the technology, and I'm all for the technology, as you know.
Yeah.
But the one area where companies really need to be called out is on their lax security. And also the fact that the people running these companies have no idea about IT.
Yeah. Yep.
And you know that. I mean, how many times you had to go to a company and say, listen, I don't want to be rude, but I'm about to bang some heads together here because you people have got no concept of security and the data that you hold.
Yeah, now it's a rapidly evolving field, and yes, we should know better, and we should be constantly on top of security, which means changing stuff almost on a monthly basis. But just to give you guys an idea on how severe this recent breach is, it has released the details, and we're talking email addresses, home addresses, name, gender, phone number,
credit card number,
date of birth. No, not credit card numbers. Sorry, there were some credit cards stolen.
Yeah,
but at least that's easily fixed. You just go and get a new credit card. But things like date of birth, reservation information. So when people
and here's the other thing. Perfect idea if you want to set up something and start scamming people.
Exactly. And then the big one that really got my goat was passport info. So we've had a whole bunch of details leaked, stolen, leaked, whatever. It's out of their control now, where there's a lot of this information which, in my mind, is stuff they shouldn't be hanging on to for any long period of time. I mean, sure enough, for security reasons, passport info, but after a couple of weeks, it really should be securely destroyed if they want to keep it.
Why log the passport information on the computer? Passport cited, yes or no? Yes, be-ail it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? So don't say you've cited somebody's passport if you hadn't. Passport cited, yes, be-ail it.
Yeah.
If necessary, handwrite numbers. Don't put that sort of information online.
Yeah. Well,
why? Because you numpties have no idea of security. No idea of security.
But it's made me think about what we can do about dealing with private information. And it clearly...
Can I make a suggestion first up?
Yep.
People, businesses, if you run a business, listen up. Stop asking people for information. Mm-hmm. And if if you're being asked for information, lie.
Yep. Yeah, and that's something I've covered. I've just put up a recent post on my website. So that's benaylett.com. 1 L, 2 T's.
That's right.
1 L,
just got to make sure it's your surname. I hope. I trust you know how to spell it.
Yeah, so I've put a post up, and I've got 3 tips on how to deal with companies that don't handle our information with the respect it deserves. I mean, this is our
Which is just about all of them.
Yeah, this is our personal information. And if businesses aren't treating it responsibly, then they don't deserve it.
But the only reason they want it, the only reason they get it is because They want commercial advantage.
Well,
now, as
yeah,
far as I'm concerned, we should say to somebody, all right, you want my information? Here's a piece of paper. This piece of paper says if my information is compromised by you or any company or person associated with you, you are liable for that.
Yes.
And we will come back with a class action. There are plenty of people around who will conduct class action lawsuits, and we are going to sue you people off the planet. And eventually, some numpty penny pincher sitting in a boardroom somewhere will get the message that actually spending money on security is a wise investment, lest your customers come and sue the pants off you.
Exactly. Yeah, it's all about risk management. So what I've covered in my blog post is, and damn it, where did I put it?
You hit it, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I did hide it. I went full screen, never go full screen.
You secured your information.
I did.
On security.
I really secured it.
I'm sorry, that appeals to my sixth sense of humour.
So look, 3 main tips I've come up with is where possible, use garbage information. If they're not going to look after it, they don't get the real deal.
Trust me,
Simple
there are
as
plenty
that.
of people in the cemetery who won't mind you borrowing their name.
Yes. All right. And then, of course, consider using a second or third email address to handle things like registrations and just account information. Keep your personal stuff.
Gmail or Hotmail, something like that.
It is dead easy to set up. And the best thing with Gmail and Hotmail is that it also allows us to use something called two-factor authentication. So that's that extra code you punch in once you put in your username and password. If your information was to be breached and sold online, it would be useless because you're using two-factor authentication. This keeps things under control and locked down, and it also means you're not impeding your daily use of your daily email.
That's right.
Okay, so
and it also means that your daily email is not getting out into the wild.
Yep.
It also means that if your information is compromised, then the email address that will be on-sold is a Gmail or a Hotmail address, which, if it becomes too much of a problem, you can just simply ditch and move on to a new one.
Exactly. And then number 3, I really recommend on using a password manager to avoid reusing passwords. So,
such as LastPass.
LastPass, yes, absolutely. So LastPass and other password managers like it will actually generate a secure password for you and remember it so you don't have to. And
they generate random alphanumeric symbolic type password.
That's right. And this is really important because when a customer database gets breached, the very first thing the bad guys do is a little practice called credential stuffing. So they will take that username, which is typically an email address, and the password that was most likely leaked in that database and decrypted. They will then take that information and they'll try to log into that email address. Then they'll try to log into something else. And they will try those credentials in as many valuable places as they can find in the hope that you're using the same password on all those accounts.
Too often people are.
6PR's Cricket Show. Bringing you...
You might wonder how blind people deal with everyday challenges. Well, normally the answer is simple. We're not that different from you. We play music. We go to school. We go to work. You get the picture. But sometimes the simplest things can be difficult, and we need a pair of eyes.
Connect to first available helper.
That's where you come in.
Establishing video connection.
Through your smartphone, Be My Eyes connects the blind with sighted people through a live video connection. Simply choose if you need help or want to help by the click of a button.
That's a nice picture of you and your family, Caroline. Is it for a present? Yes, it's a photo from my parents.
You can help
Who
just
the winner is of our wonderful arcade machine. Know you like this one, Ben. It features 60 classic games. We have Space Invaders, Pac-Man, Frogger, Galaga, and a whole swag more. Value $1,999. We actually gave it a bit of a test this evening. Well, Ben did.
It is a solid machine.
I seem to hear a lot of wow, wow, wow.
Yeah, and that's me. I'm making those noises.
Yeah, and I was going to say,
losing
mate, you're supposed to be the champion of this thing.
Oh, look, I'm a bit rusty.
Bit rusty. I think we need some severe rust proofing here, mate.
Oh, yeah.
$1,999. All comes thanks to Perth Arcade Machines. Open 7 days a week at 41 Holdaway in Malaga, just off Malaga Drive. Ben,
Yes.
your job is to draw us a winner.
All right.
Draw us a winner.
Okay, looking away, digging around. It's a really solid machine as well. So all the controls are there, it's really super solid. And the lucky winner is Jim Said of Marangaroo.
Jim said, or Jim
Congratulations,
said
Jim.
of Marangaroo. Shall we make a phone call?
I reckon we should.
Come on, Jim, answer your phone. You really need to answer your phone, Jim.
You're going to want to. Totally worth it.
Jim?
Hello.
G'day, Jim. How are you?
Good. Yourself?
Yeah, very well. You'll be pleased to know, A, this is not a telemarketer. B, it is not a scammer. It is C. Ilsley from 6PR.
No way.
Yes.
Yeah. Mate, I don't know how the man cave's looking, but I think we may be able to add an arcade machine with 60
No
classic
way.
games, including Space Invaders, Galaga, Pac-Man and many more. Value $1,999 thanks to Perth Arcade Machines. Open 7 days a week at 41 Holdaway in Malaga, just off Malaga Drive. And the final answer is yes, way.
Mate, you don't believe it. I'm just holding an ice pack to my head because I nearly lost my head today, and you've just put the cream on the cake, mate.
Good cream, I hope.
Fantastic.
Yeah, sorry about that. I just banged my head at work, and to hear that, mate, is unbelievable.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for that, Jim. Merry Christmas. Just stay there. The next voice you hear will belong to Kira. She's going to get all the stuff that really matters, such as name, address, and where to deliver the machine and that kind of thing. And Ben?
Yes.
Firstly, thank you. Secondly, you are going to have to surrender the machine.
I will have to. I'm happily give it up. He sounds like he's had a rough day, so it's good to hear that we can make someone's day.
Oh, cool.
Oh, that was awesome.
You're a big kid too, by the way.
Oh, who
I
is
saw
it?
you playing that machine.
Yeah.
You know, the funny thing is, despite the fact that you're used to playing some of these Ubiut whiz-bang modern games, it can still get the better of you. That's the thing I find most impressive. Despite the passage of time, they can still get the better of you, those arcade games.
Good old game design.
Is that what it's about? People sit down and they were thinking at the time, how am I going to get the better of people?
It's not so much how am I going to get the better of people. It's at the end of the day, it's about trying to find a way that makes a game compelling to play and play over and over and over again. So back in the old days, it was the actual structure of the game, the mechanics of the game, and how that worked. I mean, these days, sure, the structure and mechanics still play a part, but there is so much more as far as the creative or the storyline that goes with it. So it's huge. The storyline, there's money they're dropping on writers and actual plot is amazing. It's more than what you'd spend on a Hollywood movie.
Do we have to be a bit more clever these days, do you think? Because in those days, They sat down, they had to really think, how are we going to make a game that's going to be a challenge?
Yep.
Whereas these days, arguably, you could get a bit lazy about the whole process.
Oh, look, I don't think laziness actually comes into the really good games. You do, and even some of the indie games, there's no laziness. There's a real craft to it. And I actually do know a few people in the game creation industry. Yeah. And the sort of thought and planning and a sort of iteration that goes through. So quite often the first shot at making a game, they don't usually publish it. It takes about 4 or 5 or maybe even a dozen different versions and lots of tweaking in between, and then they go to focus groups. There is a lot of work that goes into developing a game.
A fair amount of work, all right. BenAylett.com is the website, by the way. 1L, 2 T's in Aylett, BenAylett.com.
Yep.
But if you've got some technical issues or something else you'd like to know, and you'd like to have a chat to the man, you can do it right now. 922 118 882. And once again, congratulations to Jim in Marangaroo.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely certain you're going to love that gaming machine.
G'day, it's Millsy and Baz from The Brekkie Show. We caught up with the singing...
You might wonder how blind people deal with everyday challenges. Well, normally the answer is simple. We're not that different from you. We play music. We go to school. We go to work. You get the picture. But sometimes the simplest things can be difficult, and we need a pair of eyes.
Connect to first available helper.
That's where you come in.
Establishing video connection.
Through your smartphone, Be My Eyes connects the blind with sighted people through a live video connection. Simply choose if you need help or want to help by the click of a button.
That's a nice picture of you and your family, Caroline. Is it for a present? Yes, it's a photo from my parents.
You can help just by installing the Be My Eyes app.
Print image.
And we'll notify you when someone needs your help. And if you're in the middle of something, don't worry. Someone else will step in.
This is Perth Tonight with Chris Ilsley on 882 6PR.
Ben Aylett's here. BenAylett.com is the website, by the way.
That's right.
1L, 2 T's in Aylett, if you want to find out some more information. G'day, Glenn.
Hi, how are you?
Good, mate.
Chris. Ben.
Yes, mate.
Quick question. Well, I think a quick question. Our area is being put on NBN about 10, 12 months ago.
Yep.
I'm looking at hooking up. Now, all the websites I've looked at for NBN connections, they're saying they have their own whoop-de-doo modems and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Is it good to use the recommended modem depending, from the supplier, or, as I've done a bit of research, Nighthawk modems are apparently pretty whoop-de-doo. Any recommendations there?
I've got a Nighthawk modem. It's great.
Yeah, the Netgear Nighthawk modems are a fantastic range of modems. They're very high-end, so you will be paying for the privilege.
They're very fancy schmancy too.
Very fancy, yep. But they have a lot of good features in them, and I would say because of the money that you're dropping on them, the important thing from my point of view always is security. So you should be able to make sure it's always up to date, and it should be self-updating as well. So that some of the features they have on those modems are just mind-blowing. The stuff you can do with it, so they're very full-featured modems. The ones you get from your internet service provider are free, but they're free for a reason.
Yeah, because they're cheap and nasty.
Exactly. It's all you need to be able to use a service which they've got to charge you for. Simple as that.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
So the Nighthawks would give me a better
Wi-Fi coverage?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
They would be better than the standard modem you get from your ISPs, because, again, built to a budget, not to a standard.
Mate, that one we've got's really good because when we installed it, not only does it pick up our Wi-Fi, now at full strength, it also picks up 5 of the neighbours.
Yep.
Including 2 who don't have their Wi-Fi secured.
Oh, in this day and age.
Silly people.
Oh, dear. All right. Yeah, no, I'd say, yes, definitely go for the Netgear Nighthawk series. Just find one to fit your budget. And I'm sure it's in the setup, but make sure that when you set it up, you change the default password.
Yes.
Okay, then.
Super important.
In fact, I recall, Glenn, when I was installing it, it tells you to do it. It actually brings it up as a stage.
Yep.
And if you go to ignore it, it goes, change password.
Yep. No, can do. Yep.
Okay, then. Good. All right. So recommendations basically do go for a different modem rather than the one supplied.
Yeah, definitely. If you can afford it, bring your own modem.
Yeah.
If you can't, well, then stick with the one they give you because it won't cost you anything.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. Yes. Yeah, I understand that. Yeah.
Yeah, but be prepared to shell out for another one soon. Anyway.
Good stuff. Thanks very much for that, Glenn. Yeah, like you say, they give you a modem that does the job.
Yeah.
But it's very, very basic. Has no fruit.
No.
Not a lot of power.
No.
I think the one I got from the phone company originally, we could only pick up 2 of the neighbours' Wi-Fis. Now we can pick up 5.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
all that does, by the way, is show you just how powerful it is.
Yeah,
right? It's nothing
how sensitive
else.
it is. Yeah,
yeah, it'll pull them in. And as far as your own Wi-Fi is concerned, there's no problem because in most cases your Wi-Fi is away from wherever your computer or wherever your source is, and if you want it for your phones and stuff like that, well, basically you want it to cover the house, don't you?
Yeah. So usually you try and pop it right in the middle of the house. And then if you need any extra coverage, you adjust accordingly. So.
I like the good old days. A mate of mine years ago had, video cassette recorders, right, mate? Super VHS.
Yeah.
Right? SVHS. This is not just your common or garden variety VHS.
Yeah, I know the ones.
Yeah. Well, he had an early version of, it wouldn't have been Wi-Fi. It was more or less like a low-powered TV transmitter, really, in truth.
Oh, those ones, yes.
Yeah. Anyway, he decided to put he needed to get it down the end of a house. He had quite a long house.
Yep.
And anyway, I was having a bit of a reception problem down the other house. So he went, and in those days it was Dick Smith's, and he went and he bought some project from him that was basically an afterburner.
Oh, really?
Right, so he hung the afterburner on this, and there was never much happened. And one day he said, maybe that's a bit powerful. I'll wind it back a bit because the picture down the bottom end of the house is okay. About 10 minutes later, there's a knock on the door, right? And it was a teenage girl from across the road who said that reception had deteriorated, any chance he could improve it. And I said, what'd you do? He said, I wound the power back up to where it was.
Oh.
Yeah. Apparently she liked it. He was a real action movie man. Apparently she liked action movies and her parents didn't like her watching action movies or something. And the fact she was able to pick up his Wi-Fi from across the road was very convenient.
Yeah, very convenient for her. But yeah.
Wasn't wasn't Wi-Fi. Like I said, it was
It was RF.
Yeah, it was, and it was a low. It had 4 antennas coming off.
Yeah. It would have been a UHF transmitter of some sort.
Oh, but mate, he had it wound up. He had some afterburners on it, mate. This was a jet engine with the afterburners running. Hey, listen, something we wanted to talk about last week, we never got a chance to.
Yes.
Was a sporting. Is it a sporting app?
People have called it Netflix for sport.
Yeah. Is that KO, is it?
It is KO, spelled Kayo. Now, it honestly...
Does it cover every sport?
It does, actually. It covers a whole bunch of sports. Look, I'll just see if we can rip through them. So we've got Aussie rules, baseball, basketball, boxing, cricket, both domestic and overseas, cycling, darts, equestrian, field hockey, football, golf, gymnastics, MMA, yes, motorsport, absolutely, rowing, rugby league, rugby union, sailing, squash, surfing, oh yes, tennis, triathlon, US football and volleyball.
So US football, that's NFL, is it?
Yeah.
What about basketball? It's got basketball?
Basketball is covered, yeah.
So it's got our basketball as well?
I think it's got our basketball, but it's also got the NBA.
Okay, so both basketball.
Yeah, and I think also baseball.
You mentioned baseball. I heard you mention baseball.
Yeah, baseball, yeah. So it has got
covers all the main
everything.
sports. Does it cover boxing?
Yes, it does. It covers boxing and MMA.
Yeah.
So, that's like real wrestling. And it's actually just a fantastic service. So you do have it on demand, so you can get the replays on demand. You can get live coverage. It's also got this really cool split view thing, so you can view 3 or 4 streams at one time on the one screen.
So oh, blimey, talk about overload, mate.
Yeah, so there's very little chance of you missing anything.
I say, I reckon that's a feature that will appeal to women, right? Because I'd like to know, my wife does this.
Yeah.
Whatever she's doing on the internet.
Yep.
On the phone watching a movie. And I was watching this with great fascination one day. I thought, there's no way she's not focused on something. So I said, pop quiz about the movie. She looked at me and said, why? I said, there is no way you can have been on the phone watching the movie and surfing the internet and know what's on the movie.
Yeah, that's right.
She knew what was on the movie.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Mate, I can't believe it. It was just watching her doing this was getting a headache.
Yeah. Oh, it's amazing stuff. And so that split view is just
one of the split view is going, some people are going to be in heaven. What are we going to do? How are we going to do this? I want to watch football, you want to watch basketball, and you want to watch cricket. No worries, we'll just split the screen.
Yeah, that's right. And they've also got some other things like moments, so it allows you to go straight to the highlights of that stream.
So what's the service going to cost? Is it a Netflix type fee?
It is, kind of. So you can get it on iOS, Apple TV, Android, PC, Mac, Chromecast, and coming soon it'll be Android TV. And the good old Telstra TV is going to be getting it too.
Tell you what, that Telstra TV we've got so damn handy.
It's just about to get better. So it starts at $25 a month.
Gee,
and that allows you to stream it. It's high definition.
Sports people are going to love it.
Yeah.
You love your sport and you want to see it. This is going to be manna from heaven.
Yep. So you got your standard one, which is $25 a month, and the premium, which is $35 a month.
Yeah.
That $10 difference only means you can stream it on more screens. It doesn't change the quality or what's available for selection. It's just you can stream it on more screens. So for $25 a month,
you can't go wrong.
It's very hard to get it wrong.
All right, Ben, thank you for drawing our arcade machine winner. Thank you for coming in tonight. We'll have a chat next
pleasure.
week.
I'll catch you then.
Sounds like a plan.
Hello, I'm Christopher Zinn announcing the biggest lifetime discount ever.